Hello everybody, I am Vitrexia, I am the owner of RXF, and today I will be showing you how striking and how grappling works and how to win your first fight. Now, there are multiple ways to win a fight, such as a knockout, in which you beat your opponent up until they ragdoll, a TKO, a technical knockout, in which your opponent refuses to fight back for multiple times and gets technically knocked out, a submission, in which you grapple with your opponent and get a submission on him, which I'll get into more later, a disqualification, in which your opponent does something that gets him disqualified and gets you the win, or you can win by a decision after fighting for 3 or 5 rounds. The judges will score your performance based on your striking performance and your grappling performance, and they will decide a winner. Now, striking is very easy to learn. The striking works very simple. It uses a sword system that detects every limb you hit. So the more limbs you hit, the more damage you will do. And the faster you click, the more damage you will do also. Auto clickers are banned from this organization, and we have a counter that tells us your CPS. Now, submissions are a bit complicated. Grapplers have a very big advantage in fights because of how easy it is to initiate a grapple. And in order to initiate a grapple, you must have your left arm equipped and place your left arm somewhere on your opponent where you would like to perform the submission. There are multiple submissions you can perform, such as a headlock, an armbar, or a leg lock, these being the main ones. For a headlock, you need to place both of your arms on your opponent's head, and in order to switch arms, you press E to switch to the right arm and Q for the left one. When you have your right arm equipped after placing your left arm, you want to use your right arm to finish the submission. And you don't just do this, because your opponent can easily counter you by a DBL. And this is a double lock, in which case the referee will make you guys release. In order to finish the submission, you must lock your opponent's arms so he is unable to grapple with you. And to do that, you must first press on your opponent's arm which you want to lock first. I highly suggest you use the left arm you lock the left arm first. But if you decide to lock the right one first, your opponent will not escape the submission, but it is way harder for you to lock it. Now, to lock the left arm, you just need to click on it and click on your opponent's chest. And you need to repeat this multiple times to make sure it is properly locked. Now, be very careful when locking your opponent, because if he catches you with your arm on his limb, he can easily lock you back, or by using his right arm to lock your arm in place, and you will not be able to finish the submission if he does so. And now I am unable to move my arm. This will result into a stall unless you somehow manage to escape with your arm. A submission is finished if it is held properly in place for 15 seconds. The second submission is an armbar, and in order to perform this kind of armbar, your opponent's arm needs to be extended. And it is way harder to lock, but it is very impossible to escape if done properly. He cannot lock me back, he cannot fight back, and he cannot escape in this position. It is simply a win. Spamming R will not make you escape a submission. Spamming R will only reduce your grips. Now, in order to make a leg lock, you need to have both of your arms on your opponent's limb and held in place for 15 seconds. This can be done, if done properly, from the heel. This will result into an unescapable lock. Be very aware, these locks are not 100% certain to work all the time, because there are multiple things that can happen. Besides getting your arm locked when trying to finish a submission, you can get counter locked. You may use the takedown tool at any time you want during the fight to get an advantage on your opponent and have a submission opportunity. But grappling will not count as points unless you are dominating during grappling. Now, there will be multiple things that the referee may tell to you during grappling, which you may not understand. And there are the following things. First one is a snap. This one rarely occurs, but when it does, your arm is out of place. Your arm gets out of place, tuned out. It is not easy to replicate, but basically your arm is disconnected from your body. And if that happens, and the referee tells you to release, you have to release. Next off, we have an invert, which is an inverted arm. So during a submission attempt, you may accidentally reverse your arm. That is a mechanic made so you can escape the submission. But in order for your arm to get reversed, you need to grapple very fast. And if you get inverted, you need to release. The third one is a double lock, in which both you the opponent is and this is an invert. This is what an invert looks like. A double lock is when two players accidentally lock each other and they both perform a submission on one another. This will not count as a win for either, and they will have to release. A stall. A stall is made when you grapple your opponent and you do not do anything else. You do not try to go for a submission, you do not try to go for anything, you just wait out. This will result into having to release your opponent. Now, during striking, when you are striking with your opponent and you are both throwing hands, if you refuse to fight back and start grappling, your opponent is just punching and punching and punching and you just try to grapple. Eventually, you get up to 3 warnings until a decision of TKO is made. The decision of TKO can be made also earlier during the fight if you are very low HP constantly and do not fight back. Scoring cards, a way we can win via decision. When scoring, the judges will take into consideration the following: the striking performance, which is divided into damage and strike attempts, the submission attempt, and the most aggressive side. So the more aggressive you are, the easier it might be for you to win. Now, ways to get disqualified are very simple. You do not release when told by the referee, which is the easiest. You jump out of the cage and refuse to fight. You perform an illegal move that can cause a glitch and abuse it. Spam jumping or spam hopping can also get you some points deducted. This makes it so that your opponent cannot grapple you if you're constantly jumping. There will be a cooldown added to this. You can also get some points deducted for throwing your opponent out of the cage on purpose, like grappling him and pushing him off from the ring. This can be done by glitch abuse, and it is very, very hard to predict. Each round will consist of 200 seconds. Main event will be considered big event and will have 2 extra rounds. This is what a fight is supposed to look like. When the countdown starts, both parties will have to fight. The more you spin, the more damage you will deal, especially if you take your opponent's back while striking. This is a DBL. This is a snap actually. This is considered a headlock. If my opponent does not escape in the next 15 seconds, it will be a win for me. And that's it. That's how the match ends. Both players have to release at the end of the fight. I don't know what he's talking about. I hope you guys enjoyed the introduction of RXF, and I hope to see you in the cage fighting soon. Goodbye.